Hello everyone, I'm just doing this video for everybody who are studying for the DP200 exam for data engineer certification. This video is also going to be useful if you're looking and studying for the Azure Data Solutions, or anybody who is interested in working with the storage account and using Visual Studio Code, and interested in learning how to connect a console application to a storage account and kind of manipulate that account, create some containers, upload some image, and just get familiar with the library and how to do that. So the thing that I'm going to assume, I'm going to use the Visual Studio Code for this particular lab that I'm doing, and also I'm going to use the C# code. So I'm expecting you have Visual Studio Code installed and you have the C# and Azure libraries already installed in your system. If you don't, please go back to my previous video and take a look at how to set up your Visual Studio Code environment. Okay, and I'm using this Ubuntu Studio actually 20 version to do this exercise, but it doesn't matter whatever system you're using, should be pretty straightforward and similar. So where to get started, we're gonna start with creating a new console application. Okay, and I'm gonna follow one of the Microsoft's own lab and try to follow that as closely as possible, and I'll give you the link. But I'm gonna start with creating a new console application. Once that's done, on the Azure side, I'm gonna create a resource group, okay, using Azure CLI, and I have the Azure CLI installed in my local environment. You can do this portion multiple ways. You can just do it from the portal, create a resource group, and then create a storage account. For this lab, I'm just going to do this using Azure CLI. Okay, so this portion you have multiple options to do it. So let's just get started. Let me open up my terminal and let's see. cd to maybe documents to our ls. So let's see, we can possibly start over here. Yeah, I think we can. So let's just get this. It's where you create basically any console application, .NET new console, and name PhotoSharingApp. So this one should create a sample application. Okay, so that's if I do a ls on it, this photo sharing application, that folder is now created. So all I need to do is get inside that folder. So cd photo sharing apps, so, and I do ls, and you see that I have the program.cs file that's got created, photo sharing.cs project file that is the got created in an object folder. So if you take a quick look at it, so this one should give you a sample code that should print the hello world. Okay, and this queue. And if you look at the CS project file, do a lace on it as well, photo sharing, and this one really is just saying we are going to use the .NET 5.0 library for this, and SDK, Microsoft.NET SDK. Okay, that's all I have. So at this time, just to make sure that your app sample have got created properly, you just run .NET and then run that command. It should print the hello world just to make sure that your sample application got created properly. And there we go. So now we know that we have successfully created the .NET application. So next, what we need to do, we need to create the resource group and a storage account. So before you run any az command, so right now I have the az library installed. So if I just put az, you see all of that available to me, all kinds of commands. If you type az and if it's not available, if you're using Ubuntu, it will tell you what to install. Just follow the command. So I'm going to assume that you have the AZ available to you. First, we need to log in to our Azure account. So I'm just going to say AZ login. It's going to take me and give me this window online. I'm just going to select, I'm already logged in as this user, so I'm just going to select that one, and it's going to say, hey, you have logged into Microsoft Azure. You can close this window, or you will redirect you to the Azure CLI documentation in 10 seconds. I'm just going to close this one. I don't need it. So now here you see that you got an input and it output. It also says you have logged in. Now let us find all the subscription to which you have access. Right now I have only one subscription that I have access to, and so it's giving me information about my subscription. So now I can create the resource group, and it's a pretty simple, pretty basic command. I'm giving the bare minimum to it. Az group create, and name is the test rg is the resource group, and location is the East US. That's all I'm saying. Hey, give me a resource group in the East US location, and look at that, it's got created so quickly. Okay, and inside this resource group, all I'm saying this now is, hey, give me a storage account name test store 112 inside the resource group test rg that we created in the previous command, and just use the standard LRS as the SKU. So let's see if we can do that. So while this command is running, the other thing we can do, we can go to our Azure environment. A minute back I deleted all of my resource group, that's why you see nothing over here, but I refresh. I'm expecting to see the test RG, and if I go in there, there shouldn't be anything at the moment, but in a moment, as soon as the storage account deployment, if it is successful, it is running right now, we should be, now it's successful. You see we got all of the information of the storage account now. So if I come back over here and refresh, that command should create a resource a storage account in here. Now if you don't see it here, give it a minute. Okay, it sometimes takes a little bit of time for the storage account to show up inside the resource group, even over here that you got that everything is good. Just to make sure that it got created, let's see if it's giving us any information. So custom domain, creation time, access tier, blob, key type, account, last enable time, here's the link to our subscription, and here's, so it's everything is the primary endpoints. Usually the account that we created is going to support the blob, the file, the queue, and the table. And if you look at it, it's also giving us the endpoint, and the endpoint, they all follow the same structure: HTTPS test store 112, then .blob.corewindows.net. If it's a file, then this blob will change to file, so it will be HTTPS test store 112.file.core.windows.net. If it's queue, it's going to be changed to queue, and for table it would be table. So just remember that one, and this is the one that I'm looking for. Provisioning state is successful, so that means our command has been successfully run. So let's come back and refresh it one more time, and I should be able to see my account. So it's right there. So if you go in there, so this is my account that we just created using our Azure CLI, but we have not created any containers inside it. So if you go there, there is no container, but we have a storage account that we can work with. So let's go back to our presentation. So this portion, as I said, you can also do it using Azure portal if you like. It's up to you. If you like to follow my my exercise, you can use these commands. Okay, next what we need to do in our application, now we have to configure a connection string so that we are able to connect to the storage account that we just created. And it usually needs two pieces of information: the access key and the REST endpoint that you have to configure in your application. So we need to create a settings file. So let's create a settings file like this. So we're gonna say touch. Let's come back to our command prompt. So over here inside this photo sharing application, I'm going to create a file called appsettings.json. Okay, so it's right, it's over there. And in here, what we need to do, let's just do code dot. It should open our code inside that particular folder. And let's see if it's appsettings.json. That's the file we just created using our touch command. There's nothing in there. So what we want to do, we want to put this little amount of code in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to come back over here and get what we need to add from right over here. Okay, so this is what we're going to add. So if you look at it, all I'm saying in this appsettings.json, connection string and then storage account, and what is the value, and the value is something that we need. So to get the value, you need to run another command. This is Azure.Storage account show connection string, and then resource group, the group that we created, and the storage account that we created, and you query the connection string. So copy this command in full and just paste it in here and hit enter. So that all it's doing, it's going to give you the connection string that you need. So if you you can also get it from the portal, by the way. So you just get this whole thing and copy that portion, okay, and copy, and all we need to do, go back to our code, and instead of this value, I'm just going to replace that with the connection string that we just got. Okay, then save this. All right, so at this point we have connected our application, we have configured our application with the right connection string. One other thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna add some support for the Microsoft extension for configurations. Okay, so let's just copy this. So this package, what is going to allow us to do, is going to allow us to look at the configuration file that we just configured and parse it, and we can write code to get the parameters, like what is the connection string for the storage account. We'll be able to programmatically get all of that stuff. So once that's done, one other thing that we need to do, we need to update our project.cs file. Okay, before we do that, let's come over here. This is that we also need to add, and this is we need to add to the project file. So when we're building the application knows about the app settings. Okay, so this, copy this portion of it, and we are going to go to our PhotoSharingApp.cs project, and in here under this, these all came by default. I'm just going to add this line of code to make sure that all right, so this is for the application.json. Okay, and just gonna save this code. All right, the last thing that we need to do, what is that we need to do? Okay, so that we have already done the app.json file. Let's see if they missed anything. So we have already done that. So we have created, just to review really quick, we have created the console application, we validated that it's running properly, we created the resource group, we created the storage account, and we have to add another client library if we want to play with it. Okay, so that is the .NET add package, Azure.Storage.Blobs. So this is something that we're going to use this package to work with the blobs within Azure. So let's just run and make sure that this library is also added, or this package is also added. So there we go. So we got it. So and here it is, Azure.Storage.Blobs. So we got this one in here. Let's see what else that we needed. So at this time we can quickly test our code by running .NET run. Okay, let's just do that real quick, and then we're gonna start working with modifying the program file. Okay, still it's running just fine. So what we have configured our project at this point. So now we have this package, okay, that is available to us, Azure.Storage.Blobs. We also added another package, Microsoft extension. This package we're gonna use to read our configuration file, and this package we're gonna use to mess with our Azure Blob storage and create blobs, upload images, stuff like that. But we have not changed anything in our program.cs file. So let's just do that next. Okay, so what we need to do, we first need to add a little bit of code for the settings, okay, to be able to read the setting. So here you can keep this hello world if you like, it doesn't matter. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come back over here. Let's do this and come back over here. And what it's doing is creating a builder, and it's gonna get we're gonna create a configuration builder, okay, and set base path to the get current directory, and it's gonna look for add JSON file appsettings.json. But if you see that we got some squiggly lines in here, so there's something wrong. And what is wrong? That we don't have the right library module inserted. So what we need to do, we need to add couple using over here with system. So let's come back over here, add them. So we have all the packages and codes, everything available to us. So you see that squiggly lines is they're now gone. So really this line is useless. Previously it was there just to make sure that our application is running properly. This line is really creating a configuration builder. It's using code from this package, and it's setting the path, and then it's adding the add JSON files. It's going to read the configuration that we have created inside the add JSON file. Like now it can figure out what is the value of the storage account if we keep writing some code. And this configuration is now going to use the builder, and it now is built. Now we can now use the configuration to get the values. Okay, so let's come back over here. Now at this time we can connect our application to storage account, and to do that we have the Azure.Storage.Blobs library or package. So again add another one, Azure.Storage.Blobs. So what we'll do, first we need to create a container, blob container object. Okay, so blob container object. So over here just hit couple of enter, and let's add the blob container object right over here. Okay, so this is what is going to create a container for us where we can upload images and stuff like that. So here if you look at it, so this is the configuration that we have created. So now we are creating a variable called connection string. This is going to get the configuration for the storage account. So this has the access key that we have defined, right? Now we're going to say that, hey, create a container name for photos. This we're going to use to upload photos. Now you need a blob container client that we can use to create a new blob container client. So this is going to create the container. So this container is the client, and now you have the container available. It has a create if not exist method. So this is the method that will create the container for us. Okay, and we can write something like console code completed successfully, just to make sure that it's working properly. So let's quickly run a .NET run just to make sure that we have our code going pretty good so far. So let's do a .NET run and see what happens. If everything is good, what it's gonna do, okay, so both of them work properly. So that means if I go to my Azure store, there was no container. So if I refresh it, let's just refresh it like this, there should be a container called photos added under my test store, and there we go. So everything worked properly, and see how quickly it created my container for us. So it's telling me that our connection string was configured properly, our blob container client is working properly, and it created the container. Okay, so let's keep going and let's upload some photos. So I have a sample photo. Now this is something you have to get from your own image. If you whatever, you can use anything you like, but I'm just gonna copy one of the images to this particular folder. Okay, and if I do ls on it, you see this particular photograph is now available. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to upload that image, and I want to write a very small code for that. So just copy this one, and if I come over here, so next uploading an image, I think we should be able to paste over here. So let's copy this code, just format it just a little bit. So what I'm saying, we're gonna create a blob, name this particular name Ritpindo, and the file name is ritpindo.png that I have copied to the root folder under the project. And we now this time we're gonna create a blob client, and the blob client is something that you can use to upload the file. So blob client is, again, it's gonna go back to the container and then ask the container to get a blob client, and the blob client we're going to provide that particular name. Okay, and then the blob client can upload this file, okay, that if it's available there, and true means if the file is already available under your photos container, it's going to override the file. Okay, now you can validate, you can also validate just going to the portal, or you can run a simple code like this. Like if you go back to the container object that you have created again, okay, the container which is a blob container client, and get blobs is a method that is available to you, that's gonna store all the blobs in the blobs variable. And now you're running a for each code that is going over every single containers inside your blobs, and every single blobs inside your container, and just gonna print the line and when it's created, and date and time, and the size of the blobs that is gonna do. So save it, and let's come back over here, and I'm just gonna run the very last time .NET run. And what I'm expecting to see the code to complete and give me some date and time, like this is the name of the blob that I created, and this is the time and date when it was created, and that's the size. And just to be completely sure, let's come back to the photos directory, and here is the file that we have uploaded. Now this is where I'm going to end this lab, and this code that I have, I'm going to put in one of my GitHub account, and I'm going to share it with a video. If you like, you can use it, and I'm also post the guide that I used here, and kind of the PowerPoint. This one really is you don't need it. I was just going through the code block by block, but what I have shown should be enough for you guys to complete this lab. So again, if you like this video, please give me a like, and subscribe to the channel, and leave your valuable comments, and tell me what kind of videos you like to see in the future. If you're studying for any certification, good luck, and thank you for watching.